Greetings, welcome back everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the bonus benefits that occurs from having an effective CRM system, and that is being able to create more strategic content. Specifically, being able to make content easier, make it to where have content is able to be tracked and determine how effective or how much benefit, how much value creation are we actually gaining from our content, as well as being able to make it to where it becomes much easier to facilitate a sophisticated content calendar with much less complexity. Now, there's a couple of points I'm going to dive into in this video. Specifically, we're going to start off talking about what exactly are some types of content that's available by having a CRM system. Many people think of CRMs only as being a tool for managing contacts and deals. But the fact is, there's a whole lot of juicy data available, which can be, if productionalized properly, turned into something of a nice content pipeline as well. We'll talk about a couple of specific content ideas and how these could potentially be put into action, ideally with the systems that are already at play. We're then going to go and describe how these partnership opportunities that we create, of course, as you saw in a previous video, there's more than a dozen different types of offers that we're able to provide. And this specifically will showcase how we can double dip, so to speak, or as we say, kill two birds with one stone. Take the actions that one team is already doing and apply benefit from those actions to another team to compound our gains as a team. And then finally, we're going to discuss a little bit more information on some ways that we could add workflows to make it to where whatever current challenges or whatever current initiatives or objectives we have as a company, we can integrate that into the CRM. So that way, over time, we can begin getting a much more structured and systemized process. Now, to start off with this, it's something where you may have noticed, or the astute may have noticed, that this entire time, I have not alluded to a specific CRM platform to be used. The reason for that, and it's been quite intentional, is because it shouldn't be that there's a particular CRM that is the best. Instead, we should use what we have and find what are the bottlenecks of what we currently are doing and what are the features, what are the benefits that we want to be able to achieve. And from there, start from a needs and objective-based approach in order to then define what might be the best option. Now, of course, I've worked with more than a dozen CRM systems in my time, so I'd be happy to provide feedback on what I think is the best. And at a later on point in this training, I will share what I think makes the most sense in a perfect world. At the same time, though, as one of my old mentors used to say all the time, do what you can with what you have. Start there. In this case, I share that because we want to start off by understanding what is the current content strategy. What are we doing to build a content calendar? And if we don't yet have a content calendar, well, good news. That's easy to set up inside of the CRM, and I'd be happy to put that together because you can imagine running agencies for almost a decade. I was going to say more than half a decade, 7 years. Running agencies for that long, I've been able to interact with a whole lot of content management approaches and strategies, and definitely have a couple of tips and ideas to share on how to run them well. So to start off with, whenever we're thinking about what types of content is available in a CRM, well, we have a whole lot of juicy operational data available to us. We can see the types of partnerships that we're interacting with. You see, if we're targeting more, let's say, DeFi focused projects, we should probably make content talking about the applications and the benefits that DeFi projects can gain by integrating with Neon Labs. Because if we don't have ERC 721 functionality, it's probably not going to be the most bang for our buck to spend our time talking about NFTs. It's also something where we can use this as an opportunity to celebrate our team. As we have different achievement milestones that we create, maybe we have a developer who comes up with an especially exciting solution for a problem that we faced for a while. Perhaps someone grinded out a really interesting idea that they fleshed out and it looks like it's going to work, and we want to share it with the community that we're going to test out some new software, some new system. Maybe there's a major decision that we notice that the entire leadership team needs to come together and decide, do we want to go with step A or with step B? All of these items are the types of situations that other projects are likely also facing, especially when we're talking about a more nascent concept like decentralized autonomous organizations, or as I'm sure everybody here intimately knows, as DAOs. Within a DAO management structure, a lot of these systems are still being created from scratch. And one of the ways that we can present ourselves and position ourselves as true industry thought leaders is by being able to showcase what are the actions that we're taking to provide as much transparency and as much consistency to our community as possible. On top of that, as we continue to scale out, this can actually leave a bit of a trail of breadcrumbs by which we're able to look back on various decisions and track how much are we progressing over time. The important thing about this is it makes it so that the longer term decision makers, such as investors or major projects that want to implement with us, have a better understanding of how we operate and how we work as a team and as a company. On the other hand, this is a type of topic, a type of content category that if you ask the average social media marketing manager to simply start writing content about operations data, they're not likely to have the insights because if it's not stored somewhere, unfortunately, it's just one of those situations where the right hand can be pretty far from the left hand. With a CRM system, we're able to aggregate everything together, make it to where there's a single source of truth in which we can all connect together. And when it comes to what software or what technology to use, let's start off with what we have. Let's see what data is there. Let's see what do we already have in production, what insights are we already gaining, what habits and what procedures are people currently comfortable with, and then let's adapt it to where it can be the most smooth fit possible. Now, one of the benefits that we want to be able to look at, because of course, taking an objectives and goals approach makes it much, much easier to achieve success, is how do we empower the partnerships program as well as our grants program? What this means is that we want to take a look at how can we attract the traffic component to marketing? How can we attract more of our target audience to take action and participate with our various initiatives, including our grants program? On top of that, we want to see what does the community feedback look like? If we find that we're hosting AMAs and we don't have anybody that's showing up to them, we should probably be asking ourselves, what can we do to be able to get our content in the hands of the right people? It's a marketing question. If we find that we're investing heavily in certain initiatives that perhaps aren't producing the most value creation, we want to be taking a second thought and asking ourselves, what else can we try? Or perhaps what are we missing in what we're already doing? Now, I've listed out a whole bunch of different evergreen content ideas, everything from taking a problem solution approach. Every time we face a problem, every time we find a solution, boom, that's an opportunity for a piece of content. Whenever we have some type of a results or capabilities situation, instead of just listing out the features of what's available in the Neon Labs EVM, within Neon Labs EVM technology, let's take a look at what features does it provide and how does that produce a result? How does that empower a new capability for a developer? So that way then, instead of what could be a pretty boring list of a bunch of random data points that may or may not seem interesting to a viewer, instead we can hit the nail on the head with a actual challenge or problem, a specific feature that a person is looking for and show them how they can get it. Now, another example that I like a lot is to be able to put together team shoutouts. Specifically, this is a way that we can help to attract more talent. Nobody wants to work at a company where their work isn't going to be appreciated. And while sure, this doesn't mean that we have to put everybody front and center if someone's a bit more shy and maybe they don't want to be talked about publicly. At the same time, it is something where most people appreciate their 15 minutes of fame. And if they work very hard on something and they create something that's truly meaningful and valuable, it'd be worth it. Now, I remember one of our developers, he was the first person to create an integration with XCMP on Polkadot. Essentially, it's a technology that makes it to where it was able to connect with the disparate parachains, that's what they call their subchains, on the Polkadot network, but to be able to successfully execute code from one sovereign blockchain network to another sovereign blockchain network. At the time, this feature, this solution was purely theoretical in nature, something that was written to the white paper and sure, it was possible, but it was one of the developers on the team that had figured out how to make this happen. And that was an opportunity to be able to showcase that we've got an awesome engineering team behind us. And hearing about what people are saying about Neon Labs and everything I've seen for myself, we've definitely got a team of GigaBrains here. And I'd love to be able to highlight just how awesome what we're doing here as a team is. Now, one of the other things that I find is very useful for putting together more effective content and for designing a effective content calendar is to set weekly and monthly goals. Something that says maybe we notice that 80% of our content is about partnership announcements. If that's the case, then we're really leaving some meat on the bone in terms of how we can connect with our different audiences. Or maybe 80% of our content is technical in nature. Well, in which case, we're probably pushing away the non-technical audience, which is statistically speaking, the majority of people. 1% of people are developers, and it's about 1% of them that are blockchain developers. So it's something where by having the right type of content mix, we're able to attract the widest group of people. And by thinking about who the target audience is, we can make sure our content is relevant for them. So as we take a look at our content mix, as we take a look at what are our objectives and goals for the next season, we can plan out each week that maybe we want to have a certain number of certain types of content. If we need more technical material, let's talk about doing some workshops or a tutorial, or maybe just guide someone through our documentation and explain some of the design decisions. If you want to be able to connect more with a broad audience, we can talk about some of the benefits of integrating with our systems. We can describe the excellent support that we offer as an integrations team. And then finally, it's how to leverage current events. What this means is, well, there's constantly changes happening in the ecosystem. Recently, the tangible and the actual announcement of ETH 2.0 merge is huge. What this means is that now many more projects are going to be interested in finding out how they can upgrade. What is that going to take from a technical standpoint? What changes might be made and what impact might happen? Now's the time to talk about any of the considerations that may have been happening behind the scenes. Let's talk about what we're finding, what our standpoint is on it, because there's so many people talking about ETH 2.0 right now. Whenever the Luna hack occurred, or not Luna hack, but like the Luna attack, the Luna collapse occurred, that was something where people were scared. They were thinking about what other problems might there be. That would be an excellent opportunity to talk about the pragmatic process we're taking with our security company, showing how we just released a new update. We sent it to the security folks, and we're actively executing on the suggestions that they made to make our code base more secure, thus being able to showcase how we're aware of what's happening. We also call this newsjacking in the growth marketing industry. If we notice that there's a huge surge of attention on a specific topic, well, we find it prudent to talk about that topic. So there's a lot more information I can go to. I'm going to create a separate video here to talk more about the different types of evergreen content that we can make. And then, well, if you have any questions or would like to provide any feedback on how you think we might be able to work together, I know I'm definitely looking forward to talking to the marketing team and seeing how I can help provide value and helping to reach our collective objectives. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, bye for now, y'all.